Morning, you absolute legends. So today's video is going to be about giving an old frame around the house a different look. I took my Fondriest, sprayed it with a product called Plastidip, and it just puts an outer coating on the bike, on the frame, which is really removable later. It does a pretty good job. I'll tell you about the pros and cons of using it, and our experience on this Fondriest, which I'm riding now.
After that.
Well, I reckon black and red.
I've got a black. I don't have a proper red though at the moment.
Don't ya? So
Cool.
they're $30 a pop.
Yeah, they're pricey, but the benefit is you can take it off later and it doesn't damage anything and protects your paint on your. So if you got one of those carbon fiber bikes, and you want to protect it, like this is you can touch this all day long, if you got a thick enough coat.
Okay, let's do it. So 3 blacks. So we've got 3 blacks for the frame and 1 for the fork.
All right, so Sean and I have finally got around to Plastidipping the Fondriest. I've got the Fondriest there. I did have it online to sell, but I thought, you know what, we're just going to Plastidip it, make it up with all my old my old Bianchi bits and pieces, the Di2, and see how this thing rides. So let's give it a crack. Let's do it now. We'll show you guys how to do this. Let's get rid of that Fondriest on the frame. I can't stand Fondriest. All right, legends, just to give you a little bit of context around why I can't stand the brand Fondriest so much. I used to have a Fondriest TF2. I love the bike. I used to take it. I even did a little bit of bike packing with it and did a bit of racing on it. But over time, over about a year or 2 year period, the bottom bracket actually started to come apart from the frame. Started delaminating down through the bottom bracket, and the whole bottom bracket started spinning within the carbon frame. So that wasn't so much of a problem because I understand these things happen, but when I went back to a company called Esperia Group, which is the distributor for Fondriest in Australia, they made things very difficult for me to return the bike and send it back. And even dealing with Fondriest in Italy, it was an absolute punish. So I would not recommend, I think Esperia are still the distributor for Fondriest in Australia. I highly recommend you don't go anywhere near Fondriest, simply because I imagine the frames now that they're building now are definitely better. But very difficult company to deal with, Fondriest, and the returns from my experience were absolutely terrible. So don't go there. Hence why I'm going ahead with Plastidipping this frame. So Esperia ended up sending me this Fondriest TF2 1.5, I think they call it, and they charged me $200 or $250 for the frame. Anyway, they should have just replaced the last one. But so here we are. We're putting the Plastidip on the bike, and this is just a single coat up and back. I am no painter, and neither is Sean. But it covered the bike just on one coat. It covered the frame pretty well. One thing we did find was that it wasn't quite even, and it was quite rough in areas. But after one coat, we were pretty impressed.
Yeah, I think we're learning for the benefit of your viewers here, because we're both in uncharted territory. I think what we found between both of us was just a pretty good sweeping motion, and it seemed to be probably 20 centimeters from the surface.
Yeah.
You can sort of see on the chainstays I've got a little bit close, and even there's another section or two here where it almost looks like there's sand under the surface. So I think we just got a little bit too much and a little bit too close.
Yeah.
So whereas the other sections, I think we were a bit better with just longer sweeping motions a little bit further away from the frame, and it seems to have gone on quite evenly. So yeah, for future, try and not concentrate too much in one spot. We should get another layer out of that can, and then I don't know, I reckon it's only going to need one more layer.
You reckon?
Well, it's pretty well covered up with one layer. You see, but this is kind of cool just to show you what this stuff does. So you can see it's just not much there because we obviously didn't paint, but you see how it just kind of comes off so easily.
Yeah, it does, hey.
So that's the whole idea of this, is if you're not happy with it, you just peel it off.
You've got to have 4 hours between coats, so don't do a coat and then leave it for 20 minutes and then do another coat, because it just won't be a very strong finish. So we're realising now on the side of the can, actually, it says 4 hours between coats. So we want to do 4 to 5 coats. So I think this is going to take us a couple of days to do. Shawnee's got to go out tonight, so we're going to leave this overnight and then we're going to attack it again tomorrow.
The big areas have come out really good. Like this down tube, pretty good considering neither of us have any experience. It's pretty good for most of the way. If you even have a look, you know, like that section there is pretty bloody good. It's dried quite nicely, which I had heard apparently Plastidip seems to do that. It just dries in a sort of more smooth way. But yeah, a couple little areas. It's always in the bends, you know, so like there's not great. But, you know,
I think for covering a frame.
Amazing. I mean, covering it and like that's the main thing, like you keep saying, like if we want to pull this all off, we can pull it off and you've got your original paint scheme still, you know, so it's beautiful from that point of view. And the fact that with no experience you can spray this on for whatever it costs you for the 2 cans of paint, like $50 or something.
$50, yeah.
I mean, that's quite amazing, really. So we've gone and made you a completely black frame for like relatively nothing, you know. So
So that's it. Plastidip is a good product. It's not going to give you a really nice finish. We found that out, and that's probably partly due to the fact that we're not very good. We've never done this before. So, but if you wanted a really nice schmick finish, you'd probably just get the thing sanded and painted.
Yeah, you'd go to one of the professional paint places, and then you're going to be, you know, getting charged something like $500 to $1,000 for a paint job. But you know, for $50 and do it yourself at home with no wait time, I don't think you can go too wrong.
Yeah.
From your junction here, obviously the shifters will go straight in. And then we've got your front derailleur, your rear derailleur, and now we just got to put the battery one down.
So where does the battery go?
Battery's going to sit in your seat post.
Oh, it sits in there.
Is that long enough?
Yeah, it should be, because it's just for the seat post, seat tube. Sitting like this to the junction box. It's actually more going to sit like that, so yeah, that's all we need.
Okay.
Oh, you got power tap pedals here as well?
Yeah, I'm going to put them on as well.
Fucking hell, man.
How good's this? I've got 2 sets of DR2 levers. So I don't know which one's the better
That one's
set.
a bit scratched, that one's not, so let's go that one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, these are the sprint shifters here.
we'll just pop it out.
So that's the finished product. That's what it looks like with the curved wheels in it. We have Shimano Di2 shifters and group set. It also has an SRM power meter. Fairly older stuff on it, but enough to do the trick for this bike. I would say that the final finish on the Plastidip is quite rough. It's not as smooth as what you might think, and there are places where if you bump the bike on a brick wall or something, just easily knock it. It can actually peel off the Plastidip pretty easily. So just keep that in mind. But all up, I'd say it's a pretty good product.